Welcome to Warn Radio. With your hosts, the Watchman Dana Smith and Tower. Thanks for listening.
Greetings in the name of the Lord and welcome to Warn Radio. This is Tower. I'm here with the Watchman and we are glad you joined us. Please send all your prayer requests and correspondence to us through our contact page at warn-usa.com. And you can listen to our Warn Radio episodes on danaglennsmith.com and warn-usa.com. Warn Radio is on the following platforms: Amazon Prime Music and Podcast, Spreaker, Blueberry, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play Music, Blog Talk Radio, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Google Podcast, Deezer, Spotify, Anchor, and Pocket Cast. Do not miss the featured post this week of our in-depth biblical articles and radio shows, featured on both warn-usa.com and danaglennsmith.com. Still the Darkness and the Rising, Glory Land of the Unclean, Breaking Unveiling Delusion, featured on danaglennsmith.com. America's Righteous Truth, The American Civil War, Then and Now, featured on warn-usa.com. Radicalism's War, Nigerian Genocide, Distressed Nations, Christ in War Zones, Gospel Hope, Judgment, Zion's Controversy, Isaiah's Prophetic Book, Part 89 on Battle Lines. And don't miss these Warn Radio episodes from November 8th through the 10th. Wednesday's Advocacy Show, Missions Advocacy, Persecution, Pakistan, Ukraine, Israel, Namibia's Kingdom Gospel. Thursday's Battle Lines, Gentiles Shall Come, Isaiah's Prophetic Book, Part 196. Fridays, Sound the Shofar, Kingdom War and the Coming King, Armor of Light, Part 11. Be sure to get your copy of The Rising. The Rising is a Christian fiction thriller by the Watchman Dana G. Smith. The Rising continues the story of Mac, a former Black Ops sniper, and details the takeover of America. There's danger and intrigue. The nation is at risk. Dark forces are plotting to bring the country into the globalist new order. Hidden within the storyline of The Rising is the truth of what's happening in America now. You can get your copy of The Rising by going to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Ingram, Walmart, Angus and Robertson, and many more. And the Rising ebook can be found on Google Play. You can also get your copy of The Rising by going to danaglennsmith.com. And while on the site, be sure to sign up for the WIBR Warn Radio newsletter and visit our Christian books and resource shop. Now I welcome in the Watchman.
You're listening to Warn Radio on the WIBR Warn Radio Network. Don't forget to visit our websites at warn-usa.com and danaglennsmith.com. And also follow us on Twitter, find us on Instagram, and join us on LinkedIn. Greetings. Welcome to this edition. On a Friday, sound the shofar. This is our series, The Kingdom War and the Coming King. This is part 12. Watch and be sober. In the news, Israel. In the news, Erdogan. And more violent rhetoric coming from him. And he has the muscle in the army to cause issues. And, of course, you've got Iran. And between Iran and Turkey, who are friends, they can definitely cause some trouble. So when we look at the end of days scriptures talking about wars and rumors of wars, you can see that in Matthew 24, Luke 21, and Mark 13. You know, there's plenty of threats. But up front, I want to say that if you are married and you have a good relationship with your spouse, that's great. Many don't have that. But if you have kids, for instance, that's great. But see, the problem we have, we are developing our relationships online, many on TikTok, and you need to stop it. I have tons of reasons, but in the beginning when this thing started, I was there. In our neck of the woods, I was among the first ones to even get a computer, and man, the cost of it was astronomical. Now I can buy one of the cheapest computers today, and it has more bytes and everything than more memory, more everything than the thing I paid for. And it was like $2,500, $2,800, $2,900. And our speed was only 1,200 kilobytes. You didn't have audio. You didn't have, shows like this one where we stream over the internet. And in the old days, we would stream 3-hour-long videos, when we were covering all the stuff we were doing interviews and stuff. But you see, as much as we like this is an amoral system. It doesn't have morals. It has whatever you put in it. And we have a lot of wicked, corrupt people online. Many who will fit in within today's show. The fact that Hamas attacked Israel shouldn't have come as a surprise. And I'm reminded of that scripture, when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord lifts up a standard against them. And that standard destroys the enemy. But in this case, Israel suffered terrible losses. Now, what I'm getting at, if you have kids, you need to monitor their friend groups. And you got to make sure that they have the right kind of friends. That's why if you're a Christian, you need to have that church fellowship. Now, we're an independent. We are sowers of the seed, teachers of the word, warning and preaching and teaching and heralding the coming in of the Lord. I'm not a pastor. I was a pastor. But I am straightforward. I tell you what's coming. I've been doing so for a long time. And I'm telling you, you need to make sure your kids are not getting poisoned on TikTok or any of these others. Because we have tons of youth that are gathering on the streets worldwide to do what they want to do. Like when they protested against Israel and was for the Palestinians. Well, see, there's a difference between the Palestinian people and Hamas. And so the real true inheritors of the land is Israel, not Palestine. Palestine is a piece of land. It is an identification. So you need to watch and be sober over your family. That's what I'm getting at. You need to make sure that you're covered. Your insurance is you for your kids. You have to be there. You have to make sure that they're not walking around with someone that'll fill them full of lies. Now, see, I came out of the 60s, and there's a lot of things your folks didn't talk about. My folks didn't talk about. You know, sex ed, drugs, alcohol, nobody said anything. So we had to learn on our own, which was not good. Now, there was one difference, though, if you had a Jewish family. Then their mom and dad would teach them how to handle money and everything else. Most of the Gentiles I know were, way back when, they weren't taught about money. Nothing. Especially tithing. So when we talk about watch and be sober, means for you to keep awake in these ends of days, in these times in which we live. And if you are a Christian family, remember, you're walking in the light of Jesus Christ. And we are, as believers and those who are walking in the light, need to watch. We need to be vigilant. Because just as Hamas caught Israel off guard, and there's a reason that Hamas was able to do that, and that's because of the politics that took over the country and divided the people. And I watched that very closely. And there were a lot of reservists and others who weren't going to fight for Israel because of what they were doing. And then this thing happened. Israel is usually on top of their security. But this time they weren't. And it comes on the heels of a bitter political divide. Israel cannot be divided. In the same respect, you, as a Christian family, cannot be divided. We already have people in the White House and in the other controls of our government that are corrupt to the core.